Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Stuckey. I'm the co-chair for MomoCon, and I'm being joined here today by an amazing voice actress, Jeremy Lee, and the voice director for the game, Pierce O'Toole, who's worked with all of the voices. And I'm sure we'll get to talk about Keanu, as everybody knows, a little bit later. And on the bottom of the screen here, we actually have Toothpick Vic, who is the one driving our game here. We're going to explore some of Night City. Without going any spoiler details, we're just after kind of the first big story point in the game and catching people up on what we've done so far. We are a street kid life path. And we've designed our character on an earlier stream today with the help of the stream. And you can see our character here.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, we had everybody and some random numbers help with some of the other aspects of the character here. But what we're going to kind of start off with some questions for the guests while we have Toothpick Vic explore the city. And when we see some interesting things, characters, story points, we'll stop and ask them what's kind of going on, right? And if you guys you viewers out there have any questions, we'll see if we can get to them. Make no promises, but if you have questions, feel free to message them in chat, and we'll see if we have a moment to pass them along here to you guys. So, starting off with you, Jeremy. You have had an impressive list of voice roles. I was going through your IMDb, just looking at everything that you've done, and it's incredible. We had you out for MomoCon a really long time ago, it seems like now. I think you just cast, maybe it was on Attack on Titan was the voice role that we had.
Sword Art Online.
Yeah, right, exactly, with Bryce. Bryce had just started, and it was the two of you. That was right. My mistake there. Yeah. And we had just brought you to MomoCon.
It's easy mistake. Yeah. Bryce is in both, so.
Yeah, that's part of the reason I probably didn't mix it up. So we had you out then, and you've just done so much since then. And I'm always excited to hear you in a game, and I'm really excited to be able to play with you along with me in this game. So, would you say that your fan base right now is more knows you from your video game work or your anime work?
So this is a tough question. I would say more anime because there are so many characters, and I've been doing that on shows that have lasted longer than for video games. However, there are a couple video game characters that people are so enthusiastic about. And I mean, when this game came out on Thursday, I have never experienced so many people reaching out and sending me pictures of what their V looks like and telling me about their experience. So it was really cool. But I think because there's more anime characters, it leans more in that direction.
No, that's I'm not surprised because you have so much anime work and you're a main character in so many different shows too. So perfect sense. And I imagine you go to a lot of conventions, right? And so you've probably been hearing people talking to you about Cyberpunk even before the game was out, right?
Yes, and I've had to deny it, and it's Pierce is laughing because it has been a source of anxiety for me for many months. And I would come back into the studio after I had gone to a convention and say, like, this dad brought me a poster for Cyberpunk and said his son is like at a tournament or something and all he wanted was this poster signed. And I had to say, I don't know what this is. What is this from? And he's like, it's Cyberpunk 2077, as it says at the top. I'm like, I never heard of it. And I had been working on it for months. So it was terrifying to post that tweet saying I'm in it, but it's such a relief.
I'm so sorry. I think the phrase you should go in the future is, I can neither confirm nor deny.
I did that for a while too, and then everybody would say, oh, yeah, she's in it. I was like, no, I don't know anything.
So it looks like we're in a nightclub here.
So I managed to hack my way in.
Oh,
nice.
Doing right now.
Well done. Thank you.
Yep.
So do you, actually, Pierce, while we're in the nightclub, did you have to do anything to do with like getting the cast people or they're trying to be in club noises? Like, can you make some noise when you're like in the club? Do you have to do anything like that? Like, what is your job? What kind of directions do you have to give people?
Oh, wow. Okay. So in this game, lots of things, right? A lot of what I'm doing is painting the picture for people, right? Because they're just looking at an Excel document, a screen in front of them that has lines, right? So a lot of times it's like, okay, yes, we're in this club, and the guy next to you is got a robotic silver arm, but or something like of that nature, or like, yes, the person is now trying to smuggle an iguana. No, actually, what you're talking to right now is a gun. The gun is actually what you're interacting with, so it's not actually gonna give you any sort of real feedback here. So, there's just so many varied scenarios in.
Did you have anybody just like look at you with a blank stare after a while?
Yeah, I'd say there was a couple times where some people went, oh, okay, sure. And then,
I feel like I did that a couple of times. There were a couple times you showed me art, and you would say, "This is what this person looks like," and I would say, oh, good. Of course they do. Yeah, of course that's what they look like.
I imagine if you're a voice actor, you're going to want to pretend that you know exactly what you're talking about, right? Isn't that? I mean, I would imagine, like, so I'm going to need you to talk to an iguana, and you're like, I got it, man. I'll know exactly how to talk to an iguana. I imagine that probably happens pretty often.
Yeah, it's. I mean, Jeremy can speak maybe more to her process, but it is mostly like just going confidently at the words you have just seen, with as many different opinions as you can for as many times as I asked you to give me an opinion about, and then we rework it if we need to, or it fits in, it moves on, and then we're kind of move on to trying to build the scene, in a game like this, right? You're trying to put together all these scenes that sort of, and this one, it's like a lot of time we actually got to work through a whole scene rather than just pieces of it at a time, which was nice.
I'm looking at some of the comments from the chat as well, because he doesn't have any real good hacking skills right now. So.
Oh no, I have terrible hacking skills right now.
When I started the. Because one thing that's very interesting about this game in terms of its dialogue is that almost nothing Jeremy and I recorded is about gameplay, which is what a lot of games do, right? A lot of games sort of teach the player to play a game by having a character tell them how to do things. But I didn't know a lot of how the gameplay functioned until very later on as things unfold. So when I'm playing this tutorial and I see how long the quick hacks take, I'm like, oh, I'm going to be going heavily down the hacking route here. These have got to get faster.
So Vic, if you can, let's actually go towards the mission, I guess the other direction, just so we can start seeing what some dialogue options come up to, because we're going to have some choices, and I would love to learn a little more about what some dialogue choices are like.
And Dex is just so cool.
He really is. He's a great character.
Oh my gosh,
very well
he is
voiced.
so cool.
So smooth.
So
yeah, I can speed up there.
I was gonna have, and maybe Pierce can answer as part of this as well. How long, over what period of time were you actually recording your lines, Jeremy? Like, was it a year ago, 2 years ago? Like, what part of the process were you involved?
Yeah, you've been on this longer than I have, so.
Yeah, so I did the first demo in 2018. I want to say between April and June. Somewhere in that window, to prep for E3 2018, and then I was like, well, that was fun. I will never hear back from them again. They're gonna find an A-list actor to take it from here, and then they called back again in 2019, and that's when Pierce was there to do the second demo, and I think that was in April as well. And I thought, well, this is cool. I get to come back and do another demo. And it was at that point that Boris from CD Projekt Red said, so we'll see you in a couple of weeks for a main game. And I spent the last year and a half or more waiting for the call that, like, thank you so much, but we've chosen to cast the correct actor for this.
There he is.
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy.
Yeah,
he's so cool, but I have like a part of me just does not trust him.
Wonder why.
It's Night City, that's fair.
Yeah, Wonder why. Yeah, that's probably what V and I have in common the most. Trust no one.
Oh yeah, Jeremy
well,
does not trust anyone she meets in a scene ever.
Well, so without spoiling the game, is there anybody that you do feel like you do trust? Like, is there anybody like, man, that guy Keanu, just totally trust him?
I mean, without using the cop out answer of it's up to the player to decide who V trusts. I think there's a couple people that V trusts. Personally, when I was working on it, I don't know if it's a spoiler, but there's a Ripper doc that I absolutely trust. I obviously Jackie, I would say. I don't know if it's also a spoiler, but I know somebody posted it online, so I saw it. Misty. I trust Misty. I mean, there's
Yeah,
there's a number of people I don't want to spoil, but
not everyone in Night City is out to screw you or anything like that. There's plenty of people that are that you're just wandering into an area, helping them out. Other characters that you interact for a period of time that are intriguing and vulnerable and honest with you. But
there's inanimate objects that I trust as well. If that's not too much of a spoiler.
That's my favorite thing. It's my favorite thing.
One of my favorites as well.
But but I'd say just think carefully about who you're getting into business with. That's just a rule of life in and out of Night City.
Yeah.
So
and when a guy is this cool, you gotta be a little bit cautious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So sorry to interrupt.
He agrees with me.
I wanted to go ahead and mention one thing quickly here for our viewing audience. We're going to go ahead and we have a raffle going on right now for any donation, $20 or higher. You have an opportunity to win PL 4500 chair from a sponsor, Vertigear. But what we're going to do is if you donate $20.77 during the segment, not only do you have a chance to win that chair, but we're actually going to give you another copy of a game key that we've got here. So we've got a lot of game keys from different indie game companies and things like that. I'm not promising any, we're not promising Cyberpunk itself.
Right.
We have a lot of game keys to give out, and we would love the opportunity if we get some donations coming in here for $20.77. Not only will you be entered in for the chair raffle that's going to be happening here at 11 o'clock tonight, you will actually be also entered in. Well, you'll automatically get, without a raffle, a game key. So go ahead and throw some of these donations into Feeding America, who is our charity partner for this whole event, if you are so inclined. Sorry to interrupt with that, but yeah, so I actually wanted to ask Pierce a little bit. So so Dexter, tell me a little bit about the voice actor for Dexter here.
Sure. Dexter's voice actor is a great guy named Michael Leon Woolley. And actually, he's the very first person I directed on this game. When I was brought in, it was actually the first thing we did was the cinematic trailer for E3. And so he was sort of syncing up with facial capture. And Michael is this interesting guy because he is just one of these massive people. He just like towers over me, right? And he's so gentle and he's so kind, right? And then he like gets it. I was like, this is the guy, And then and then he's just one of those guys that comes in. And he just starts talking. You're like, oh, this guy is cool, right? Right there. It's always that. I love the way he just hangs on the end of stuff. It just luxuriates in everything he's doing. But Michael's also a pro.
Of the kind of personality,
Yeah.
I'm a little everywhere personally, but I wish we could just ooze cool.
Yeah.
It's really great.
And Michael's also someone who's just game to try anything, right? You'll also hear him as various you can also, not only is Dexter gonna be Michael, but there's a couple cops, there's a couple security guards, some civilians on the street that are him.
Cool.
That even I'm talking to him and I'm getting 4 lines in with him and I'm like, oh wait, this is Michael. So
Did you, Jeremy, did you do any additional voices like NPCs in the street? Or
I did. I did a couple. What was it? A random girl in an elevator. Pierce, is that
Yes.
who it was? And then I did a couple of the ads that you'll see.
Yeah.
I think I did one or two. It was very hard because my natural speaking voice is not similar to V's natural speaking voice, but everything in Night City's got to be cool. And my natural speaking voice does not evoke that same response. So we had to be very sparingly with what else I got to do. But I do remember we had a lot of fun doing the elevator NPC girl. She was quite amusing.
Was it kind of like almost a break for you to be able to change character types and stuff like that?
It was actually very hard because when I'm in that studio and I because this was during we did that NPC during COVID. So once I was I'm hearing Pierce and I'm hearing Boris, and so I'm like, when I'm used to hearing those two voices in my head, I know I'm working on Cyberpunk, I'm in like V mode, and then to know like, no, this is nothing like V at all. It was a very different adjustment. And then once I realized how different I could be and how far I could go, it was liberating, absolutely.
One of the questions we had from chat, and this is probably more for Pierce, is there's a voice character apparently earlier involved, and it sounded a little bit like the voice actress that does the robot in Portal. I'm trying to remember the name. We've had her as a guest.
Ellen McLean?
Ellen. Yeah, McLean. Was she involved in the game at all? Was that her voice?
I will just say, I'm not exactly sure like how much under wraps they want to keep certain things. I will just say, if you deal with Delamain, if you start going down dealing with Delamain, there's a lot of interesting references as those personalities start to split and take on sort of different characteristics away from that AI. So maybe some of those might sound familiar.
I'm not surprised at all. I mean, what I've already seen of the game is that it is chock full of these hardcore references, the hairstyles and everything. It's just, if you're a fan of this genre and of entertainment media, there's just so much in here. So much.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It actually had a question that I'd written down for you because I knew it was so reference heavy. Do you think that there's any, deep dive secret references that people are not going to get that you were involved in voicing or creating the voice for?
Then there's the other thing.
Let's see.
The client who put the job on the table.
I mean, yes, there's a lot of the obvious ones, and it's very interesting actually working with someone like Boris and like CD Projekt Red, who is out of Poland, because a lot of the times their reference vocabulary is a little different, right? That's kind of what makes a lot of their games interesting, is they're pulling from different places. Like I remember, I think Jeremy, you talked about there's like a '60s French movie that Boris recommended that was sort of like the experience of being V.
Yeah.
Do you remember something Marienbad, right? Was it?
Yeah, Marienbad. Last year at Marienbad.
Last year at Marienbad was sort of like one of the things he kind of started off, like as one of the first references I heard. And that said, as you might expect, there are some references to various things in Keanu's career. And my favorite thing, it's so buried. It's so buried in a side mission, but there is in fact a Bill and Ted reference buried in there.
So
I forgot about that.
I feel like this is the perfect time to bring up one of the questions I had in mind for Sherry. So now that you're basically, co-starring, if you will, with Keanu Reeves, and you're 6 degrees separated from so many other actors in Hollywood, and actresses, do you have a favorite person you're now like connected through Keanu that you're like, so many choices? Do you have a favorite?
There are so many choices, but I have been a fan of and will always be a fan of Sandra Bullock. So that's probably the very first one that pops into my head. The beginning of COVID, I watched probably any movie that they were in together, and then took on a different path of like splitting and watching both of their films. I think my husband was like, You know, Keanu and Sandra Bullock are great, but there are other actors. So I that was the beginning of my COVID, of my quarantine was spending all of my time watching their work.
So Vic, if you want to go back towards the meeting with Jackie, I think is what the direction's giving you, if I'm understanding correctly. What you're going for the bonus optional process here.
Yeah, I was going to do a fight real quick, but either way works.
Go for it. Go fight. Go punch some people.
Yeah, let's go kick something.
Yeah.
And like, there's so many amazing, like, just people on the street, civilian characters in this game that you can find, and just merchants. Like the junk merchants are my favorite thing, like my favorite category, because they're just they vary from like very prideful of the junk they have gathered to like, well, not all there. Maybe is the best way to sort of say it. So and just like there, it was fun because there's something like 250 distinct civilian roles in this game, and they all have an age associated with them. They all had a personality associated with them that comes out a lot in like their bits of just phone conversations or something they're having, that you can kind of feel they're all in the middle of something in their own lives.
I feel like it's a monumental task figuring out how to like get all that on paper and everything. Are you gonna die, Vic?
No.
I know, I got very nervous.
I feel like you're gonna die.
Maybe.
You can't die on stream. You got a whole audience behind you. You can't die.
I'll make it. I'm better than that.
Yeah, I basically died waking up.
Just know, if it were me streaming this right now, talking to you guys, I would either not be able to respond because I would be too busy trying not to die, or I would just die because I got distracted talking to you guys.
Either way works.
For one reason that I'm not the one driving. I get to talk, and I don't have to drive. I was paranoid before we had Vic step in here. I was paranoid that I was going to be super, like, distracted, and I couldn't ask questions, and I would die all the time, and then chat would be like, F chat, and just be like, okay.
These guys might be a little tough. Let me go, right?
Vic, have you found any of the smart weapons yet?
You take your time and focus. You're driving this car. We're along for the ride. You do what you need to do.
I have not found smart weapons. Literally, I did one little stream fight after we did the beginning. So
we wanted to start at the beginning.
Gotcha.
So it means Vic here is a little underpowered for some of the stuff.
Well, and yeah, like and as they do in The Witcher, the world is never blocked off to you, right? So you can go anywhere and get into all kinds of trouble, because they're not going to level gate you. So good luck, Vic.
Yeah.
That's what I noticed. I'm like, well, I shouldn't be there right now.
Wait, in fact,
I shouldn't be there right now.
Can you go to like downtown or something like that? Go to like city center?
If you give me, I haven't explored that much, so I've literally, because of my streaming, etc., I've reset the game 4 times.
Oh, good.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes, if you have a map.
Let me get my
I'll
map
take it.
out.
Yeah.
We're gonna have directions. That's great. You get directions from me.
Yeah, literally from the game that was delivered. I got the game at like, I got delivered to my apartment at like, I don't know, 7 o'clock on release day, and the guy was like, "I'm so sorry, this is late. Super important. It's Cyberpunk. I know it is." I was like, "It's fine. Don't worry about it. I know it's gonna happen, sort of." So you said downtown, city center. Okay. So
I have a
this
reference
is probably
to the
not helpful
apartment
at all.
reference point.
Okay. Were you wanting to go to Wellsprings or just downtown? Pierce.
Wellsprings is cool. Yeah, we can go there.
So.
Also, one thing while
trying
we're
to see where Arasaka Tower is
the fixer jobs. I feel like are something that like even more so than like the monster quests in something like Witcher. There's something so varied and intriguing about basically like you'll probably do some some just normal jobs of like go eliminate this or something like that, but a lot of those ones lead to very interesting things you don't know you're getting yourself into.
There we go. There's downtown.
Down
to Arasaka and right there we go, right in there.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
You guys want me to head down to like Corpo Plaza?
Yeah, let's take a look.
Corpo or right next to it
let's
is
see what happens.
Arasaka.
Yeah. This is a nice open world game. Let's see how many times you die.
Let's see how many times you die.
Vic,
Yeah.
this morning I woke up, came out, saw some cops knocking on a door in my apartment building, went up to them to see what was going on, bumped into one of them, and they just freaked out. I had committed a crime, and they shot me, and I was dead in 2 shots. So
That actually happened to me earlier. I was in the car and actually ran into a barrier, and before I could get out of the car, they were like, "Nope, you're clearly an enemy," and just gunned me down. I'm like, well, that happened. All right, so I've got a waypoint over here. I'll try to find a way to summon my car. And this is going to be a long drive.
While we have Vic trying to figure
That
out.
reminds me of my friend. My friend was watching, who's never played games before. She like hijacked her husband's game and has been playing for the last like 6 hours and streaming. But she was like, her husband filmed a video of her just sitting there going, "Why do they always have guns on me? I haven't even done anything to them." And he's like, "No, you have, babe. You've shot like all of them. You keep shooting at them." She's like, "No, that's why they have guns on you."
So we'll see your driving skills here.
Oh,
and please.
Okay, so I will say that
we have-
driving in this game is not necessarily easy, and please don't do it in first person.
And Vic, if you see anything while you're driving that looks intriguing, feel free to go down any dark alleyways. I'm sure nothing bad will happen.
Nothing.
Oh my gosh.
It's really bad advice.
Every time you say that, I think back to every like weird, seedy side mission that we found where we thought, like, yeah, of course we should do this now. Like, just say yes.
Yeah,
Multiple
that's what
times. I think the thing that I said most recording was, haven't we learned? Like, we don't need to say yes to everything. But we do.
Absolutely, just get in the car.
We absolutely do.
Yeah, just take that shard, shove it right in your head.
Oh yeah, that's a great
anytime
idea.
someone hands you anything, just right in the head.
Anytime anybody hands you anything, put it in your body. That is the lesson from this game. Like, they give you a random shard, just put it into your arm. That's fine.
I'm not sure I should trust you guys for advice. I'm trying to get you in a dark
Not at all.
alley.
Not at all.
You know, I am. You know what? I'll give Vic the same advice I have given a lot of the. For instance, when a bunch of the like content creators that have cameos in the game, I told all of them, if you meet someone named Joshua, and he seems off,
say no.
get in the car with him. And every red flag that comes up that you're like,
No.
something seems off here, just ignore it. Just keep going straight.
Nothing bad will happen. It's worth it.
Yeah, it's fine.
I feel like this is supposed to be
I'm
lower.
tempted to take that advice. I don't know why. Something's compelling about
No.
Joshua now.
Trust the person who trusts no one. Just say no.
I feel like that is better advice, I guess.
Yeah, I'm a little more of an agent of chaos. But sorry, Chris, you have a question for us. I'm sure.
We had a comment from chat. Jeremy, I think there's some people that would love to see you have your own Twitch channel where you're playing games and talking to fans.
You guys, you say you want that. You really don't want that. I promise you. It would not be entertaining in the least.
Oh, I
would
disagree, Jeremy.
either be silent or I would either be silent and focused and maybe stay alive, or talk to you guys and interact with you guys and die every 5 seconds. And you'd be like, what are we even doing? This is not worth my time.
But playing games
Maybe if I
is a
got
skill.
a little. Yeah, it is a skill that I don't. I cannot multitask with playing a game and talking to you guys at the same time. It is.
Yeah.
You say you want it, but you trust me. I promise you don't.
Yeah. I have a hard enough time whenever my friend is sitting next to me on the couch and says, "What's going on?" I'm like, "I need a second. There's a lot of people shooting at me right now. I can talk to you in 1 second."
I feel like you're lost.
I was watching a stream
yeah.
where somebody was playing the Nomad path, because that's what I've been doing the last few days. Is I've been watching a large amount of streams to see everybody else's different paths, to see which one I want to play first. And I saw someone trying to pick up a card in the Nomad life, and they were getting so frustrated they couldn't pick up the card. They're like, "What? You know what? I just don't even want this anymore. I don't get." And then they walked off. I was like, "This is so." Look, it's funny because it's not me. If it were me, I would be like, "And this is where we stop the stream, guys. Thank you so much. I just remembered my cats need me right now."
If I have cats walking around here, I would love to show them on stream, but because that's the main thing that everybody really wants on stream, though. So
Yep.
cats help sell streams.
Agreed.
You just know that.
Yep.
Okay, well, look, that I
thing
can
now.
provide. If you
Mhm.
that's all you want are my cats, then I can provide that during a stream. Absolutely.
Well, maybe
this
maybe
is,
it's cats with Jeremy, and that's the
Yeah, there you
secret.
go. Tea and cats is Jeremy.
Yeah. Me and my two little black cats.
So I'm looking at this here, and I was trying to find a way to get around this this interstate, if you will. And getting on this one loop has been a nightmare. I've been trying to figure out a way on there, and it just does not want to play nice.
Oh,
So-
well then here. Do you have any open contracts right now? Like you got anything from Reggie or Wakako or?
Literally, we just opened the beginning, so I could wander around. That's what I was gonna do, is actually just go find some random stuff and start, taking on the small stuff and get my street cred up, so
Cool.
maybe I can get some upgrades.
Yeah.
Do it.
And die, of course.
All right, well, let's just do that. I'll give you guys some. I'll focus
I'm
on
waiting for you
driving
to
somewhere
die.
and getting something going.
I'm waiting for you to die.
That's all you want. You just want me to die.
Well, I
Yeah.
feel like it's
Well,
gotta be inevitable.
Also, I don't know if you figured something out, Vic, but heading straight to Arasaka Tower at this moment is probably pretty
Not
deadly.
a good idea.
We're sort of setting you up. But it would look
No,
really
I feel
cool.
like that's fine.
I have a large distrust already.
Look, if there's one place I'm sure you're going to be safe at any point in time in this game, it's Arasaka Tower.
Well, yeah, I mean they do
Now
own
I've
the city,
confused
basically.
everyone with who. Yeah, you're fine. You're
Yeah,
fine. there.
we haven't even gotten to Keanu at this point.
Uh-huh.
And I was gonna ask,
Yeah.
did you get to work directly with Keanu? Like, was there like a moment where you could cut off a lock of his hair? Just kind of curious how much you got to work with him.
I did work with Keanu. That was my second day on this game. That was the start of bringing. I was bringing this game and so because you just hear code names, right? Like Jeremy is familiar with this. Like they said we think you'd be good to work on this thing called Cheetah. I'm like, cool. I come in and they're like, cool. So it's Cyberpunk. I was like, okay. And we need you to come in next week to direct Keanu Reeves. Sure.
Good.
But we probably had about 15 days of recording. But those also, as you might imagine, Keanu Reeves is a little busy. So they were long days. Like there were days where that's all I did, is I spent eight hours in a room with Keanu, and we would we would work for 4 hours, break for lunch, work until we were done for that day. We did that for couple week stretches at a time, when we could get him in between, off riding off on his motorcycle or getting ready to make Matrix 4.
Yeah.
There were days where he was he is
Yeah.
like such a machine. There were days where he was training for Matrix 4 in the morning and coming to record with us in the afternoon. Man's a machine.
Well, I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of voice actors through the convention scene,
Mhm.
and I think it's often underappreciated how long the days are
Oh yeah.
for recording. I think a lot of people out there just think, oh, it's easy. I go in, I talk in a mic, and I get a check and I leave. But I imagine a lot of your recording sessions, Jeremy, were probably pretty long days as well.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting for voiceover that's different when you're working on an on-camera project is for an on-camera project, you're kind of locked into just that project. So you might have like a 12 to 14-hour day on an on-camera project, but then you'll have a guaranteed day off. Whereas for voiceover, sometimes you have a project that's going to wrap in 8 hours or 2 hours, or maybe it might be a couple months. So you might not get a day off because you'll have one day that you're working 2 hours for one job and then you've got another job in the afternoon, or it could be a really light week and you've only got one session a week or two. But for this game, which was so lovely, it varied. Near the end there, I was living at the studio and I would walk in and say, I'm sorry, you guys have to see me again. Like I would be there all day, leave at 6 and then get there at 9 the next morning. And just I hung out there all day. I guess around the holidays, my last session before I was decorating Christmas cookies at the studio. It was very reminiscent as my kindergarten holiday party. So, you know, never too old for those things.
Did you get to interact with any of the other voice talent in the game?
I got to interact with their voices, and on occasion, if they were coming in before or after me, I would get to say hi and get to meet them. I told a story with a different interview of my missed opportunity to meet Keanu Reeves. He was in the parking lot standing by his motorcycle getting ready to leave, and I pulled up to the studio. And I was like, who is this guy who's just like, talk about people that ooze cool. I was like, who is this like just cool individual? Then I saw him like flip his hair back and put the helmet on, and I realized who he was, and I panicked because it was around Halloween. I was dressed like a witch. I have a very vast holiday wardrobe for all holidays. And I was like, I cannot meet Keanu Reeves dressed like a witch. So I just sat in my car and waited till he rode off into the sunset, and then I went into the studio and was like, I saw Keanu Reeves, and Pierce was like, did you talk to him? I was like, what am I supposed to say? And he was like, maybe that you're playing V in this game with him? And I said, that would have been a good way to start the conversation. No, I panicked.
Well, does he live in the Los Angeles area?
I mean, yeah, I mean, he's clearly got a place here, right? I mean, you know, because he was here for a few months at a time while we were doing this.
And you live in the LA area, right, Jeremy?
I do, yes.
So what we're saying here is Keanu, if you're out there, Jeremy missed the opportunity to meet you in person. I think she would, if you want to drive your motorcycle to her apartment and then like come in, have some tea, talk about cats. I'll
panic. I won't even know what to say. I'll revert back to my days of denial of saying I was in this game and be like, what is Cyberpunk? What is this? Like I'll revert back to that. I'll have to like work up to it. Maybe one day. One day I'll be ready. But he is so cool, and it oozes through just the lines that I would hear and get to interact with him. So that was really, really fun. I don't know how many times I told Pierce I would hear someone and say, man, that person sounds amazing. And I still, like, just now when they were posting their announcement saying they were in the game, that's how I found out what they looked like. I had just known their voices.
Yeah.
But you have to work with everybody, though, right? Pretty much. Or was there any, like, splitting with so many characters and stuff?
Yeah. So there, there's a very interesting thing here, actually, which is that that I was the lead director for the U.S. side of it. Now, our studio that record all this stuff, they have a UK counterpart as well. And so we split a lot of it because there's just the sheer volume of getting over there that I had a counterpart over there. The very interesting thing, and there was became like a it was an interest. I'm not attention or anything like that, but Gavin was actually directed. He's an Irish actor. He was in the UK, so he was directed by the UK director, and Jeremy and I were working over here. But we had each other for reference, right? If any line was recorded, we were kind of keeping track of who was where in the script. When I say we, I mean, I believe Nick Lanza, who was the production manager, and his I believe Sam was his UK counterpart, were like tracking where everyone was, so that if Gavin was here, we didn't go there until we could hear where he was, so that Jeremy and him aren't. They're allowed to do their own thing and bring their own style and performance to it, but we can't be worlds apart, right? That's just not going to fit in the moment. But and then also as you get closer and closer to the edge, like no one can do a game like this on their own. As much as I would like to try, I had some amazing people come in to help support at the end there. So we were running three stages for like recording 3 stages simultaneously for like the last month or so in this game before we had to leave studios.
Yeah, because of COVID. How much of the voice production was done during the COVID time period?
There was a fair bit with. It was a couple
Yeah.
sessions, I think, with you, Jeremy. And
Yeah, I think I had maybe 3 or 4,
Yeah.
which in the grand scheme of the recording with V overall for the game, it's not even a drop in the bucket, like 4 sessions. But we did have a couple.
Yeah, and all of actually all of the tutorial, all that stuff with T-Bug in the tutorial, that was at Cynthia's house and me and my house. The stuff in the car with Max Tack arriving, that was something they were fleshing out while we were at home. So a lot of that like sort of intro stuff that's fleshing out the world and that sort of stuff, that's all stuff that we were doing with Jason and Cynthia's Jackie and T-Bug.
You know, I've heard from some other voice actors that I've talked with that they had to get like this recording studio, mobile recording studio brought to their house. Did you guys go like with that route, or do you have a different route for getting recordings done in your homes?
Well,
It varies. I mean, there were certain studios that would deliver equipment, and we'd get like, I mean, it's like suitcases of equipment that we would get dropped off and have to set up for the session. And then other studios, there's been a lot of sound tests of like, what mics do you have? Send us a test of what this sounds like. Send us a test of the other mic, and then we'll let you know what we want you to use, or what we think you need to change to make it work for the game. But there's been a lot of things that I've worked on this year, which I was very nervous about. And then I remember telling my husband, I'm going to say that I worked on this project in my closet downstairs. Like, this is so weird. So it's been a very weird, surreal experience working on that. But yes, I did have to definitely treat my closet and fix my closet up. I didn't start renting this apartment and the booth was already ready to go.
Yeah.
And it's very easy for me. As long as they can hear me and I can hear them, my life is basically the same. So,
Yeah, you know, I appreciate that people have managed to find a way to adapt so quickly. You know, because I mean, this is obviously a very high-profile game that had delays, and COVID did not help anything. But everybody worked really hard, and they still got together and get it out. So I appreciate your flexibility and adaptability to help make this game come out and everybody enjoy it. So, we do have a random question for you, Jeremy, from the chat. Do you have any autograph sessions online, cameos, or any other opportunities to get an autograph from you? Pierce, I'd ask the same if you do have one.
Pierce, you should.
I just signed pictures of you.
Keanu.
Please, you should. Yeah, you just signed pictures of me and Keanu and Gavin. Please.
Yeah, that's it.
That would be great. Get a group picture of all 3 of us. It'll have to be photoshopped together because we've
I'll work on
actually never met.
I can drop that into MS Paint. I'll figure that out.
Yeah, please
Make
that
sure
happen.
Jeremy's
Because
wearing the whip hat.
I'll purchase
Absolutely
one.
do it in paint.
Let me know when they're available. I'll be the first one to buy one.
Okay.
Yes, I am selling a limited number of autographs for right now because I hadn't done it for all of quarantine because I was like, look, the last thing I want people doing is spending money in a year that is so stressful on posters. And then I had so many people that were messaging saying, please, it's Christmas and this is what my brother wants. Please don't ruin my brother's Christmas wish. And I was like, dude, look, I can't be that person. So I have a very limited number of posters, and I'm shocked that people have been interested in them. But they're available on my website, sharemylee.com. I found an artist who wanted to, it was terrifying for me, but I thought it was very cool, and he did a great job. He has drawn me in the Cyberpunk universe on a poster, which was terrifying. And I was like, nobody's going to want this. But my brother, who's a very harsh critic, was like, I mean, I think it's cool. So for him, I was like, well, great. If he's on board, cool. I do have a cameo as well. I believe it's cameo.com/ShareMeLee. So, but I say that, and then I say, please, I will do these things into the new year. And throughout 2021, when the world starts, hopefully coming back to normal. No one please rush to buy things in this time. Take care of yourself and your family. Like, that comes first. But if it is someone's Christmas wish, I do not want to be Scrooge and ruin someone's Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever else.
No, I think that's very nice of you, and I know it can make a big impact for people because I mean I've seen it time and time again at conventions. You know, just a chance to interact with you. It's like interacting with the real V and or other characters that you worked on that they've managed to fall in love with, right? And so it's very important to people. So I think you're doing good work by.
It is one of my favorite things about the job. I mean, I did a stream on Instagram last week signing some of the posters, and I'm going to do that tomorrow as well. And I didn't. I'm an introvert, but I didn't realize how much I missed people and getting to talk with them over the stream. I've missed conventions so much. I've missed getting to interact with people, hearing what the projects mean to them. Because when we work on them, it's just, it's sort of an isolated experience, except for, thankfully, I have Pierce and the engineers that I worked on, that we have all these inside jokes, so I could share things with them. But to get to open that up and share it with the many people watching the projects or playing the games is, it's very, very special, and there's nothing like it. So I'm so grateful for the opportunity.
Right, and Pierce, we have another person in chat. It's like I would buy a Pierce autograph. So
as you should.
I'll consider it, I guess, if the demand arises.
Stop.
I was gonna say, yeah, this is Jeremy's favorite character in the game.
Oh my gosh!
Well, what's your decision?
Toothpick Vic, you could have not found a more exciting moment for me. I have been waiting for this moment, and I never knew what he would look like. I spent so much recording. Mateo is very much, I would say, like a brick wall. And I want to break down this wall. I have always loved Mateo. I want him to like me so much. Not in a romantic way. I just want him to want to talk to me because he doesn't. And this is my favorite.
That reminds me of like a cyborg David Duchovny. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never known what he was going to look like. This is, I'm so distracted. This is not what I would have expected, but it's great.
Tigers gave this place up to
No, I was hesitating coming in here. I didn't know, like, depending on how much time, because this leads into a very long segment, which is why I was like, should I?
Yes, it does.
I feel like the internet will never be upset if you showed them Judy. So.
Yeah.
What choice should we have here?
Make it to Judy.
What's the choice for
What's
Vic?
this is what would we say to?
Oh, this is when we're looking for Evelyn.
Yeah.
And we don't know yet.
Yeah, we don't. Okay. Wait, can the "what can I get here" option, does that lead into? We made a lot of jokes.
Yeah.
Oh.
We made a lot of jokes throughout recording.
We'll find out. Let's find out. Pick it.
Okay, yeah, let's find out. Okay, good. What's on the menu? There it is, Pierce.
Yeah, but he didn't say me. So.
That was my line. How many lines did I have to get into character at the beginning of the day?
Yeah, every session we'd start off with every character. We had a few lines of reference that were kind of like their home base to like get them back in, right? So even though I saw Jeremy basically every day for a year and a half, we still played these same lines at the beginning of it. So and one of them is "What's on the menu?"
Yeah.
And that one's pretty.
What's on the menu today? That was it every morning.
Every single time, exactly like that.
So I did this response earlier, and I loved his response to this, so I have to play it again.
Please. Yeah, go for it.
Generous when I get the answers I'm looking for.
Oh God.
But I don't get paid at all. Opposite.
This is why I love him.
Yeah. This is the actual moment that birthed Jeremy, like,
Yeah,
I will
obsession.
win this person over.
Evelyn.
She's great. And then, like,
She's so
pouring
cool.
the drinks over here. Yeah.
Yeah. And Kari is
We also had another joke about the tipping to get answers. At one point, I don't know if it was a typo or whatever, but they were like, V slides slides a bill across the table, and we were like, a single. So we were like, and then each time he doesn't respond, I'm like, does this speak to you a little more? Here's 2 bills, like V, like single, the single slide.
Yeah, the two things that Jeremy's V would do is tip a single bill and order a water. Every,
Yep.
and
Every
I don't know if you can tell though, like Jeremy, I
Why
just
we meeting here?
get wrapped up in the characters because everyone is so there was a break, right? We finished up in I think January of 2020, and then we came back in July, I think it was, once we were back recording from home. And in that time, I just remember I came back and like literally every character we picked back up with these pickups, they're just like, oh right, they're awesome. No, I love her. No, he's great. I mean, they're terrible people, but they're so great. I love them so much.
Totally.
It's
we have a text chain where he's like, look at what this person looks like. I'm like, oh, they are as creepy and wonderful as I wished they would be, and then some. And then we see what people are saying about them, and they're like, oh my God, what a terrible person. I'm like, no, I mean, yes, they are, but I love them.
Yeah. It's just the cast in this game is so great. And the writing is so good and interesting.
Yeah. I've really enjoyed everything I've seen so far.
Did you mention Pierce? Was this you were saying Kari? Is this Kari Walgren's voice?
Yeah, yeah. This is Kari Walgren is Evelyn Parker. Yeah.
I'm good at what I do.
Yeah, she's
Got a solid crew at my back too.
That's great. So, out of curiosity, this is a question you probably will occasionally get asked. Was there any time that you got to impact the lines? Either one of you, like, hey, I feel like V might have said this. Did you have that, or was it more like, here's the lines, record the lines?
The job's high risk.
Oh, actually, there was a lot of freedom.
Yeah, I mean, with some exceptions. I mean, I think the thing that they were really, really strict about is we tried to limit pronoun usage as much as humanly possible, unless the sentence just didn't make any sense. And they were really, really diligent about that, which I really loved that they were, because we use pronouns so frequently. And I didn't realize, even as conscious as I am about it, I would forget. So I loved that they were always checking that, and Pierce was always like, "Hey, can't say that word."
There's only one other bunch.
There were a couple lines that I remember, not so much changing the line, but I don't think that my read was what they had in mind.
Yeah.
And I would say, Pierce, I need to do that again. He goes, no, you don't, because that was great in probably an unexpected way. So I have one character that I remember the first time I meet him, the response is my genuine first reaction to Pierce explaining me what that character looked like and their story. And then the first line, I started laughing, said the line, and could not stop laughing for about 10 minutes. And that's the take that's in there, I think.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we got another one.
I did not allow another one because she broke me as well. If you'll meet a character that has a very odd nose, is the best way to explain it, or lack thereof, and it's
I also have a deep affinity for that character.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can't. It's a beautiful backstory, beautiful character, and it's very fun.
Was it like a Goldfinger or not? Was it Goldfinger that had the nose, or in the Austin Powers thing? It was like, I'm trying to remember.
I don't know if. I think that's what made it so funny. I've never seen or imagined or thought it was possible for someone to exist quite like this character.
Yeah. But yeah, especially like they were very keen to let the actors just kind of play with stuff to a degree, right? Like obviously, we can't just rewrite the entire script or play forever on one line. But if like someone feels like they want to change a word or something feels better and more comfortable to them, or they were always interested in trusting those instincts.
Unless it was a necessary choice for like slang, and then they would come back and say, no, this is why this has to exist this way.
What's your favorite cyberpunk slang that you had to say?
I'm a big fan of Skull Sponge.
That's a good one.
I like Skull Sponge.
Man, there was a lot. Um,
We need to spell things out.
there's this one broke me, and it's one of my favorites, and I hope it's not a spoiler. But V says you're one smart little muffin, and it was I don't know why it was so funny to me,
Because you
but I love that so much, and we were like, you mean a smart cookie? And they said, no, this is intentional. And we were like, okay, good.
That line did necessitate a break. We did have to take a break with that one.
We did. We had to take
But
a
yeah,
break.
I also like. I mean, this is one that everyone's heard, but all the variations: chumba, chumbata. It's such a fun, cool word.
That's my favorite bread, chumbata.
Chumbata, yeah.
Chumbata.
A little bit of skull sponge on that chumbata.
Yep.
It's also I think becoming a problem for me that I've said these words for so long that I forget what is like originated for the game and what I've just been saying for the last year, because it has become part of my regular vocabulary.
Provided we're done gossiping about the Artisakas.
Okay. Kari was talking about the wardrobe for all of the characters, and I said, yeah, I mean, the cosplay opportunities are insane. And she goes, I know, I need those boots. I'm like, you also need the jacket, Kari.
Yeah. There's already some pretty stunning cosplays out there already.
I'm sure.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, there
totally.
really is. So we've had some people here in our office, and they we don't have like cue cards or anything. So what we've been doing when they make notes to me, they write it on a plate. So they're like, hey.
Fantastic.
So I feel like this is the
Good.
plate, and then this is on the other side of the plate.
Glorious interior.
This is our life writing on plates. So,
Oh, that's so good. I hope
So-
this continues. Like, if I am ever able to see you guys in person, I hope when I see you, everyone is still writing on plates.
yeah, no, I feel like it's really important, and it actually ties back into Feeding America, because I mean plates,
Oh, yeah.
food.
Agreed.
So it's
Yeah.
all connected here. So just to bring it back up and back around in case you can't read the plate, so I wanted to bring that up for the next hour. We still have the opportunity for you to win our Vertigear PL 4500 chair when you make a donation of $20 or more, and if you make a donation of $20.77, we're actually giving you another game code. Not Cyberpunk, but other games that we've got, like Untitled Goose Game, maybe even Hades. It's gonna be a random one, so no promises on those. But we've got over 40 titles of different games, and you'll get a guaranteed, if you donate $20.77 right now, or until 11 o'clock, you'll get that and a chance to win the $500 gaming chair. So pretty exciting, and that'll benefit Feeding America. And if you didn't know, Feeding America has over, I believe it's over 200 food banks across the U.S. they support, and over 6,000 food shelters. And in the time that we're living in with COVID, food shelters are running low on food, and the dollars that you give to these organizations goes a lot further than even providing yourself providing a canned item, because that dollar, it carries a lot more at the size of the organization they are. So $1 towards Feeding America can provide 10 meals, as astonishing as that sounds. So that $20 is 200 meals that you can have for somebody in need in food insecurity right now across the country. So be sure to get those donations in for the chance to win the chair, guaranteed game code, and just generally supporting a great cause like Feeding America.
That's most important.
So I apologize for that and interrupting, because I know we had a good flow going here. But what's happening?
I
in the
mean,
game
that's why
that
we're
wasn't paying-
here.
Yeah, it is. But what is going on in the game right now? I haven't been paying attention. So
Go ahead, guys. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. So this is where we meet Judy, our BD tuner.
One of the greatest characters ever.
Yeah, I adore her.
I agree entirely. Character design.
Yeah. And Carla Tessara is the voice actor, and she's phenomenal as Judy. You'll hear me say that a lot about this cast. Yeah, this is. I believe Evelyn has a recording that we're going to have to examine and explore, but first we're going to kind of get an intro to what a brain dance is and how to navigate it. Should give a heads up at this point. I have not gotten here yet with the latest patch, so I don't know. It's okay now? Okay. Okay, then everyone should be safe to watch this part.
yeah, we're talking about the brain dance, which is what I think BD stands for in this case. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will make a point here, just in the event that there's any situations. Previously, there was an ability to possibly trigger seizures or epilepsy during a sequence like this. It should be fixed, but if you happen to have a sensitivity, it might be a good idea just to not pay attention to the screen if we're going to be stepping in that chair. So just in advance, don't think it's a problem. They have addressed it, but just for all safety and purposes. So.
Yeah, I believe that was just a thing of them trying to be a little too authentic to a to a piece of medical machinery.
No, with version 1.04, they toned it down a little bit, so it's not as bright and the frequency slows down. So.
Okay. But yeah, and then, and the brain dance is a very fun idea. Like anyone, like it's such a fun investigative tool. To sort of like go into a room and like poke around a scene, find different things, whether it's like visual or audio or heat signatures. I mean, yeah.
No, it's always difficult to make new concepts and new ways to play through a game to help facilitate telling a story too. So I think I can appreciate all the thought process that goes on into designing something like this.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and because originally hearing, like when we're starting off and this is like just a concept you're hearing about, it does have the ability to sound a lot like, say, the Arkham Batman investigation things, right? But it is very different than that in actually what they designed and everything like that. It's very cool.
Yeah, I'm so nervous and so excited. I haven't
drawn into this
experienced this the brain dance before. I've just been told about it and imagined it.
Can't you just use my recording?
So, Jeremy, I know we talked a little bit before we started this broadcast. I know you haven't had a chance to play the game yourself yet. You're watching a lot of people play, and you're going to play. I'm curious. Do you think that you will play with your own voice, or do you think that you would choose the male voice?
I don't know. I think Gavin did a really good job, but I think I would want to create a V as close to me as possible to go through Night City, so it would be like me living in this movie of Night City. But I will say my brother has created 2 characters and has played 2 versions for me. He created a V that looks similar to him, obviously with Gavin's voice. And then he was playing through with my voice as well. And playing different paths, I think with himself, he's doing the nomad path. With me, he was going the street kid path. And it was so interesting how different Gavin and I are, and yet like there's so much that we had in common because we reference each other. I mean, I would lead a couple, and then Gavin would lead a couple, and it was a nice sort of partnership that way. And I never felt like I was losing my version of V because Gavin was existing in lines before. And I think that was due to Pierce and due to CD Projekt Red for being willing to take the time so we could get the timing exactly right. Without making me just like copy and paste. This is the timing. This is the read. I was gonna say something else about timing, but I feel like that's way too much of a spoiler. So
no,
get into it.
But yeah, it's a fascinating process, right? Because you want both of the actors to have their freedom to bring their own performance to it, but still, like technically, we need to be within a certain time frame. So there will be probably things that are very different. Like I think Gavin is funny at times that Jeremy is not, and Jeremy is funny at times that Gavin is not. Yeah. So but none of it's not appropriate, right? It's not like, yeah. So there's totally different experiences. Yet again, another reason to try the game out multiple times.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's interesting. I mean, I appreciate the trend because it is. I think it's important to have representation of character choice, and a lot of games now do offer the opportunity to choose a male or female playable character. And I think, I mean, imagine it creates a lot. I mean, we were talking about the dialogue earlier, the pronoun usage, things like that. It creates a lot of extra work, but I think it really does make a big impact, and it does create more playability too. although from the Mass Effect series, one of the first major franchises to offer some choice in gender, there's definitely some die-hard femshep, as they would say, with Jennifer Hale as the voice actress there. And so there's definitely some die-hard. Do you think there's going to be some die-hard female V fans, or I'm not sure how people are going to refer to it. I don't know if it'll be Femme V or Femme Fatale, Femme Vive,
I think Femme V is what I've been seeing online thus far. I may be partial, but I think so. I think Jeremy. I think there's just some very interesting moments, and also like Jeremy sort of originated this character, right? Like they started when they did the demo, the first one, they wanted to start with a female character, right? So that was always in their mind, I think, as a way, and then they brought in a male option afterwards. So I think there's something about this character that just has a Jeremy stamp on it, sort of in the DNA of it.
Well,
did you know that, Jeremy? Did you know that you got to?
No, I mean, I had heard. I spent the whole time, which is interesting. Once I met Gavin, I spent the whole time recording this until like December of last year, Pierce. The whole time being like, "Am I fired yet? Or do they hate me?" And Pierce was like, "Get in the booth. You're fine." And it was around December that I was like, "So I'm actually going to be doing this." And he was like, "I don't know what 6 months changed. Like what."
It was.
Gavin felt the same way. Yeah. Gavin spent the whole time feeling like he was going to be fired. And there are moments that I hear where I'm like, Gavin sounds so cool, and that's one of the things that I'm so excited about. I absolutely am going to play this with both voices because there's so many options. But for my first playthrough, I feel so narcissistic saying it, but I think I got to go through this with myself the first time.
Yeah. See, for me, I would just worry that hearing myself, I don't like my own voice, right? I mean, you did mention that you don't you feel separated enough, right, from
yeah.
But, so
I was listening to an interview with me, and I don't like my normal speaking voice where I'm not acting. But when I'm acting, for whatever reason, like a character like this, it doesn't bother me because I think it's very removed from my natural voice.
That makes sense. You're able to make a separation of this. So, yeah, I have a random question because this scene reminds me of I had the opportunity to visit CD Projekt Red's kind of like the presence at E3, and they had the bar there that they had in the side room, and you had to have the bar recreation. You go behind the bar, and then they had the whole scene, and they give you these crazy jackets and stuff like that. It was really great. Do you have an opportunity, Jeremy and Pierce as well, to kind of like get to experience a little bit more when you were at something like an E3 conference where all the developers are there and everybody's just like celebrating the game? Do you like secretly walk around E3 and like see how people are talking about the game?
Well, for this game in particular, I never made it into E3. I drove past the convention center every day to the recording sessions. We recorded the whole time during that, so I like got to see what amazing pictures. That setup looked amazing. But in the past, other games that I've worked on, something like that, I kind of will like absolutely. If there's gameplay, absolutely, I'm just sort of hanging out and just sort of like watching what people are doing, how they're reacting. I get to be a little more anonymous than say Jeremy does, so I can do that a little more easily.
And I think for this game, I was so scared for anybody to like see me like with the somebody with CD Projekt Red or because I'm always so nervous that somebody's gonna consider a violation of NDA. So I was like, nope, not going to E3. Nope, not going to watch a demo. What if somebody just happens to know that I watched this on my computer? I don't want anybody to know. I found out, I don't know who messaged me, but I found out that Keanu was going to be a part of the game when Twitter blew up. after the E3 announcement.
You don't quite grasp
Your breathtaking moment, as it were. And that's how I found out Keanu was involved. And I, at that moment, was like, okay, I'm not going to be in this game now. Like, there's no way. But people were like, did you know that he was announced? I was like, no, I don't ask questions. I don't want to give them any reason to fire me. I don't want, like, so I did not see anything. I did have a really interesting experience. I went to PAX this year in Boston. Is the last convention I went to before everything shut down, and getting to I was there promoting Borderlands 3 DLC, and nobody knew that my character was coming back, and so I was walking around the PAX floor, and it was that same like anonymity, looking at everything, playing games, checking stuff out, and nobody knew why I was there or what I was doing, and that was pretty cool. But I had Gearbox's permission, so I feel like I would need to have their blessing before I got to walk the floor and look at the great setups that they have.
Got it. You ready?
No, I was also at that same PAX. Very surreal looking back on it. It was this year, but it feels like a century ago.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So what we've obviously done the brain dance here, and from what I was paying attention to on the screen, with Vic, he was going through these motions and exploring the memories. Are we in a memory now? And it looks like brain dance editor.
Yeah.
So we're still exploring.
Yeah. So this is now where this is actually the one that. Yeah, that is that's a guy. Don't worry about him.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is now the recording that Evelyn made with Yorinobu Arasaka, and T-Bug is now kind of walking you through it as opposed to Judy, since she is your sort of go-to netrunner as part of your crew. And this is sort of you're trying to this is basically gonna help you get the feeling of the space you're gonna need to go into. I believe it.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm looking for a certain part that I remember. There was a certain piece of architecture in this room that I remember asking a lot of questions about, because we spent a lot of time there later, and I was like, how are we like interacting this is so hard without talking about spoilers. Like, how are we interacting in this space? So I'm like trying to see it in front of me how I imagine it.
Well, and there's a we can kind of talk a little. Well, I guess it's not exactly this, but like there's like scenes around here, and it's like a good illustration of like CD Projekt Red, as far as like their dialogue and performances and story go, they are sort of relentless in their pursuit of perfection. So like, for instance, if they decide that they need to move a bit of a story over here because it makes more sense, and now people should be whispering, we're going to go through and we'll re-record those scenes over again to get the appropriate performances. If they decide that like a name of a place or a name of an organization doesn't feel right after it's been implemented in the game, we'll go through and we'll redo all of that stuff to make sure like that we are getting exactly the beats and the feel that they want for their world. Because I have revisited the Arasaka Tower. What did we do, like 3-4 times through that, as that sort of scene evolved and got more and more intense and more frightening. So
yeah, I also feel like it was also evolving as they were creating the environment in more detail. Like, they were saying, okay, because you're going to end up being closer to this person than we initially thought, the performance needs to shift. We also have this new element that we've created that needed to be in the space, so we're going to adjust all of that. So yeah, we've been back to that scene many times,
and
with new adjustments.
It's always interesting in that, like, a lot of times when you're in a game, a lot of times what happens is when you're coming back to things, it's usually like, yeah, the world's just way louder now. We just need you. It's got to be louder. We got to yell over this noise, or we're in the middle of battle. It always felt like we were getting to like quieter, more intimate, more personal moments whenever we were like revisiting
Totally.
scenes, that we were diving more into like
Yeah.
more like calm moments to like deal with our characters, which is unique. I've never
and it
never
was-
noticed
it
that as a
was
trend in
nice-
the game I've worked on.
It was nice too. They would come back, and I mean they were very meticulous about the level of fatigue and exhaustion for where things fit into the story, which I really appreciated. So that everything would make sense, because when you have so many different options, you have to make sure everything tracks with everybody making different choices.
No, that's really interesting to hear. I like your guys' perspective on that. It's rare that we get to kind of get behind the scenes aspect of what it's like to come back in and actually work on making the scenes that we get to see, because we only get to see it once it's done. We don't get to live it over and over again like this. If I have one moment here, I want to acknowledge some people. We have gotten several 2077 donations while we've been here, so I want to acknowledge some of the people who donated.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, please.
So we have King Hapo. Thank you, King Hapo. Yellow Prime. Robin Not Batman. Vixen Radio. Hatcore.com. Shane Osborne. And an anonymous donation for $527. So,
Oh wow.
Wow.
it's pretty crazy. So I want to
That is
thank.
incredible.
I know. So thank you guys for all those donations. As a reminder, if you would like to donate, we are taking donations right now. We're giving a guaranteed game code for a random indie title that we've got for a donation of $20.77, and you're also entered in a chance to win a Vertigear PL 4500 chair. And we just got a donation while I was talking from Cookie Mom. Hey Vic, hope you're doing well. I'm just sad I can't disrupt you during your combat. That was for $103.85. I don't know if that's multiple. Is that a multiple of 77 cents?
I don't know. I don't know, Vic. If cookies are involved, you should let her interrupt.
It's cookie.
Yeah, so it's 5. It is 5, right? Math, hey, it is 5 times, so it's 5 donations of $20.77. So
Amazing,
thank you very much,
amazing.
Cookie Mom.
That's so cool. Thank you, guys.
Yes, thank you. So I'll also bring up the plate, because I really love the plate.
I do too. The plate is fantastic.
But yeah,
So I'm going to let this whole scene finish out. We've already finished the investigation. I've got the information I need from here, but I'd just like to let the whole scene finish while you guys talk.
Okay.
And this,
Is everything
oh yeah,
going
and this,
right?
the Yorinobu is played by Hideo, and Hideo, he is like he's another one who's he's like this sweet, like very like energy alphabetic guy, and then when he slips into being this guy, he is just cool and smooth commander.
Oh, got any candy left? Steph
But
was pretty fun last
yeah,
time.
like all of the Arasakas are so cool, and so frighteningly just calm in their power. Like,
Yep.
I'm nervous and excited for the late game.
Do you have a favorite character without spoilers, both of you, in the game?
Just a sec.
Oh.
You'll like this.
Without spoilers.
So I think there's a lot of people that I think there's a few people we can mention, because they're I know I can mention a character that is in like what is the prologue, the first like 5 hours or so of the game, that pretty much is out there now. Like I think there's a lot of really fascinating and great journeys, but I think the person I had the most fun with, the character I had the most fun with, was Panam. I think Panam it's just as cool as like V is, and as much as V is, like, it is so fun to watch V run up against someone who just takes no shit from them and has their own goals and doesn't need V, right, to do that. And so like there's just something, I adore Panam. That's probably who I'm most looking forward to catching up with, and going on just crazy adventures with. Just, whew. Anyway. But
It's so
it's so hard,
to pick
right?
a
Because because I'm looking at Judy and Evelyn right now,
Yeah.
and both of these characters are
Yeah.
wonderful. And
Man. So Pierce, you've been scouring the internet. I'll ask, are the well, we mentioned Judy, we mentioned Pan Am.
Yeah.
Are the other two, are they out, or
Well,
are they spoilers as well?
No, I mean, most of those characters are around, but I don't know that anyone knows who is quote unquote a companion or romanceable in the world or anything like that.
Right.
As far as that goes, but like there are like some like almost everyone you meet, if you are having a conversation like this, if you're involved with a character like this, there's depth. They have their own life. They have their own story that you can get involved with or not.
Yeah, that's what makes it. That's what makes it so hard. Is that I feel like I have relationships with all of them, even if it was just a very minor interaction. I mean, like I said, there are inanimate objects that have personalities.
Won't do anything to get you in trouble.
Like I think
was so fun.
They've announced but one of the best relationships in the game is between Brendan and Theo, which are voiced by Amelia Rose Blair and Brian Deckard, and it's a vending machine and someone who is friends with this vending machine. So it is one of the like sweetest, oh
my gosh,
like just two characters. It was one of the most touching moments for actually.
Yeah, there's so much heart in this game. Yeah, there's so much heart in this game, and also, I mean, Gavin and I were talking about it when we briefly met virtually for a panel, and I was like, you really get the experience out of this game that you choose. Like, if you want to find the funny moments, it is very funny. There's a lot of humor in this. If you want to find the heartbreaking, like emotional moments, they're there. If you want to go on an adrenaline-packed roller coaster ride, I mean, obviously that's there. Man, to pick one favorite character. You're not worried? Well, look, I'll pick my one favorite character from this stream. Obviously, I met Mateo in the virtual reality of this moment, and that was fantastic. Vic, I'm so you could not have given me a better gift in the stream to bring me Mateo.
Mateo was one of the only other time I have seen this much joy from Jeremy. Was when because Mateo was actually a character that got cast fairly late into recording. So there was a part where we were revisiting stuff with Mateo because some of the dialogue had changed, like rewrites.
And there was a voice there.
And I just like was waiting. I was waiting the whole time. Sherry gets in the booth and I just click the play button for her feed line, and she like shock on her face.
I don't know why I was like, I mean, I guess I'm just one of those people that when someone is like, no, I don't want to talk to you, immediately I'm like, oh, shields up. We're going to be friends. I'm going to make you be friends with me. And I think that is what I really love most about Mateo.
Mistake like that'll cost you your
So
you guys will have to play to see if I can break his wall down.
So Pierce, I feel like you should have said, my favorite person is clearly Jeremy. My favorite person.
I feel like that's so bad. I feel like she would not let me say that. That's the truth. The truth is it is, but she will not let me say that.
So I'll actually ask Nick here on the bottom. Do you have a favorite character so far? I'm kind of curious. You've played through this. Do you have a favorite character?
It's going to sound a little egotistical, but it's not. Victor, I think his name is. I love him. Absolutely.
I love him.
He is so cool.
So that scene, since you brought it up, that scene with Vic was my audition scene, and that was like. That was my first introduction to this character. I fell in love with the story. I fell in love with V, and I just loved the way they wrote Vic. And she has it's just a great relationship of trust, and she so sorry using pronouns, and they can go back and interact with
Turns out Evelyn's
with Vic, and such a great journey with Vic, such a great character. But yeah, that I remember that scene. I was like, this is like a movie, and I love this scene so much. So anytime we had a scene with Vic, it felt like going home and getting to talk to family, honestly. So I'm so glad you brought that up. I didn't know we could talk about him.
And Michael Gregory, who voices it, like, is just such this wonderfully rich and comforting voice that, like, in a world where, like, you don't know who to trust and you don't know, like everything seems like tense. Like every time we like come back to Victor Vector, it's just warm and cozy and just feels like peaceful. And Misty helps with that too. Misty is also like a very like calm force as well.
Absolutely.
He was an interesting character in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you guys both live in kind of Los Angeles, which is considered a little bit Southern California, and this is theoretically set in a future Northern California area, right? As I understand it.
Yeah, I believe, as I understand it, Night City is smack dab in between San Francisco and LA.
Okay. So if you had the opportunity to tomorrow drive up, let's ignore the COVID pandemic, drive up and visit Night City, what would you do? If you could just drive up from LA, visit Night City, what would you go to? Is there like a bar? Is there something that you guys found that you'd be like, I gotta go there?
Oh man.
Oh yeah, I think
I had a thought, but I don't know if I could say it. Where would you go?
That's what I was wondering.
I think the first thing that came to mind, so I'll go with that. The first thing that came to mind was I think I would go hang out in the old amusement park in Pacifica.
Oh yeah.
Pacifica's a cool place. It's a very different part of the city.
Yeah. Man, there's so many options as I'm like thinking of all the choices. I'm like flashing back and having memories of like living through doing the scenes. I don't know if I can talk. There's a very famous bar. It's a very iconic bar.
They
feel like
you have to go there by now.
I'm so paranoid about all these things.
The afterlife, you can talk about the afterlife. They've had to.
Great. I would absolutely go to the afterlife because I feel like that's like an iconic place. Like when you come to Hollywood, you see the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I feel like that is that is the iconic place to go in Night City. That being said, I would really want to go hang out with Victor and like catch up, and then I'd probably go pick up Jackie and go to the afterlife and get a drink of water. Jackie will not get a glass of water. Jackie will have you know what? I would have to get a different drink.
I feel like you have some pretty advanced drinks in the future too, right? You got advanced bar tech, if you will.
Sure. Yeah, we joked that because they were nicknaming the drinks, and
oh yeah.
I guess I would have to. Can I say like what one of the drinks?
Well, yeah, I think
is that fair?
Because there is a drink that like Jackie orders early on, and the bartender calls it by its name. At least in a version we recorded.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. I don't know what got changed.
So, what
I said, I've watched like 6 streams, so I'm going based on like what of all the people in this room.
I think it's safe to say like in the afterlife, I think it's pretty early on. You learn drinks are named after legends of that world.
So I would have to get a Johnny Silverhand. Like I can say that. Well, you're like, well, you just did, so you can't now, but it's fine.
Yeah. But we did joke that like at the end of this, the V would just be a glass of tap water.
Which is ironic because I don't drink enough water. I constantly forget to drink water.
Hydro Homies. It's a whole subreddit, and it just encourages you to drink water.
There you go.
We joke, but I do need that.
Yeah.
That's what's in this actually is water.
So I've had some Dr. Pepper in this, so I'm not drinking water myself. But drink water. Hey,
Yeah.
some life advice.
Drink water. Hydrate.
Yep, some life advice here, sharing on nice stream about Cyberpunk. So
I'll be honest, I almost cracked open the V Rockstar can for this stream, but I've never had a Rockstar before, and I did not want you guys to experience that.
Vic's got it in the corner there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
That's actually the one with Jackie on it.
Yeah.
Can't tell here.
Yeah, Vic made sure to come with the Cyberpunk hat. I think you got the jacket
Well
too.
done.
But,
Yeah, I've got
But,
the,
yeah.
The
video
samurai
here in the corner.
jacket.
Oh.
Yeah.
yeah, it's just a little bit more. But
The
Nice, I like that one.
just to like jump back to Jeremy's level of paranoia with this game, the first bit of swag when she was starting to feel like she was gonna be in this game, the first thing that she
Yeah.
bought were socks so that she could hide them under the shoes.
I'm wearing them right now. I have washed them like every day so I can wear them since Thursday. And every time I'm like, I'll put on the socks and I'd be like, guys, I'm wearing the Cyberpunk socks. Nobody needs to know. But yeah, that was the one thing that I felt confident that I could wear. Because
feel like
I was terrified someone would be like, what are you doing with that t-shirt? What are you trying to tell us? Nothing?
I feel like what you're saying is that your friends and family should buy you more pairs of the Cyberpunk socks because you gotta have more than one pair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the stuff is sold out on the site, you guys. I wanted to buy the female V T-shirt. I was gonna buy joggers for my brother, but everything's sold out. So that's great news. I'll get more socks when they're available.
I can't believe Vic just took this innocent person down that was just trying to get a
Yeah,
soft.
throw him in the garbage though, so no one finds out.
Sleeping.
Yeah.
He's sleeping. He's not dead. He's sleeping. It's okay.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying,
he's
it's
just-
random assault
it's
next
just
to a.
nap time.
He's fine.
Yeah.
He's good.
It's his nap time. That's
nap.
his.
We played in the
that's
pit, man.
his
We know this is
place
okay.
In the.
It's like
It's a fort. It looks like a dumpster, but it's a fort.
it's like what Keanu says in the ad, man. What makes you a criminal in City is getting caught.
Exactly.
Until then, you're fine.
We're just chilling. It's okay. We're we're buds.
Yeah, he looked like he needed a nap. And that's the other thing.
I'm
Drink
looking
water.
out for
You
him.
were looking out for him.
I am. I'm being that bro.
Yeah, you're like, hey man, don't drink that soda. You need water.
And
And you're like, here, water in the trash.
Yeah.
and that's a little window actually into like convincing Jeremy that what she was about to do was not terrible, but actually a good thing a lot of the time with me. You're justified. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, like you've got to do this.
Yeah.
They need it. It's fine. It's good.
I think that was a lot of fun in voicing everything because we took it scene by scene, and so I'd have multiple options. So like we would do one take, and I would go, oh that hurts my soul to say that to that person, and then I'd have another option that was usually meaner, and then one that was like a little softer, but there were very, very few times, but there were a couple of times that Pierce would say, too far. That was too mean. And I was like, I wasn't trying to be mean with that one. He goes, we cannot do that. That was too aggressive.
I think it is. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I was going to interrupt. So we've had again at MomoCon opportunity to work with a lot of voice actors, and we have this clip that we've been showing here from Red Dead Redemption, and so and it's really a great clip. And the clip basically, if I set it up, so the main voice actor that you have that you're playing through, he has an affinity level with his horse in the game, and as you get more close to the horse, you talk to the horse a little more closely. But the voice director at the time had to call him back in after the last recording because the recording was a little too sensual with the horse, if you will, in the take. And we need to dial it back just a little bit. I'm kind of curious, is that kind of a frequent problem? Because you don't know you don't have you're interacting with a person, object, or other thing. Do you ever have to like go and re-record it? It's like, it's not really the right direction.
Oh sure. In fact, there was this one particular side quest where, granted, Jeremy doesn't trust anyone she meets anyway, but there was this one particular woman that Jeremy is like, she is up to something. She is.
Look, honestly, I left the studio. We were done recording, and Pierce was like, "Look, you're really harsh." And I said, "No, I am not. Think of this. Like, I took that home with me. I was so upset with it."
But sure enough, we ended up re-recording this bit, and I just said, "Okay, this time, Jeremy, I need you to actually care about her. I need you to actually care about what's going on here." But
you also, for a couple of times, you would say with some of the romantic companion options, because I guess I'm realizing in quarantine I'm a much more guarded person than I thought I was. But you would often say, like, okay, maybe when you say this, like, mean it a little bit, because that was really mean to that person.
although there are some harsh,
I was like, well, look.
there are some harsh rejection options. So, and I actually think that like one of the harshest moments isn't even like an ultimate rejection of a relationship or anything like that. It's just like this one little moment where someone like goes to get a little too comfortable, and I think you were like, if I remember right, the line is like, maybe it's that. It's like, oh, it's comfortable here, and your line was like, maybe a little too comfortable. And it
Maybe
was
a little too comfortable?
withering. It was withering. I shrank in the booth. Like,
I didn't do it on purpose, and I felt really bad about it.
but it was.
There were a couple of moments.
Vic, I
But
feel
yeah,
like
yeah,
We didn't re-record that either.
No, that's the version because that is the correct moment. But
So I'm
but yeah.
sorry if something that I say crushes someone's soul. I really feel bad about it.
But
Genuinely.
the short answer here, just Chris, is like, yeah, that happens all the time. Because like, and sometimes it's just because the game has changed, or those relationships have changed, or things have swapped, and sometimes it's like sometimes I thought we were going down a path, and the actor's with me, and then we find out later it's like I was wrong, and it's like, all right, so we'll pick up that seat again. But I mean, that's the thing about games, is games are iterative, right? We're always sort of like revisiting and as we go through.
Do you ever, is there ever an opportunity to like use these other takes in like some kind of like alternate dialogue option or something like that, or it's just lost to time? You know, is there ever a reason to save them?
I guess that all depends. They're saved somewhere. I'm sure they exist. On
a hard drive somewhere.
Yeah, like somewhere they're like backed up, just in case. I'm sure, but there's plenty of games where that I think is interesting. Is like depending on what the type of dialogue is, where they actually want to take multiple takes of it, so that it even when you hear the same line, it's slightly different, right? But yeah, these alternate scenes, these alternate versions of they live somewhere on some server. Yeah. Somewhere. I imagine until this game is officially done. So until like we're I don't even know then. I don't know. I'm paranoid about my file management stuff though, so like I still have footage from stuff I did in college because I don't know if I'll ever need it. So I'm the wrong person to ask, I guess.
I feel like
same.
Vic has found somebody else that needed some water and is trying to help him out right now.
Yeah,
I thought Vic was just like helping them.
Yeah.
You're finding a friend. Also,
I'm
the
finding a
person
friend.
that you're carrying has some really great shoes. So
Yeah, take the load off.
I'm just hoping nobody asks questions. That's all.
and
a
well,
friend.
look, it's fine.
Well, none of them seem to want to look. Like none of them seem to want to ask questions.
I see nothing.
They look
They are
terrified.
scared.
So this is
It's
not
just dumb
good.
body, but you know.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Also, whoever made the choice for the nails, I really love.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say
That would be Chris.
They're really good. So you would recognize maybe the character here. That made me think of when we were doing the character.
Yeah.
So I saw that and was like, we got to make it a little more anime style.
So good. Yeah. And they glow in the dark.
Yeah. That was pretty nice.
Tom's.
Diner.
Oh, Tom's Diner. Yeah.
Or is it
We
open
love
to go in
Tom's.
Tom's Diner? It looks like it might be closed. Maybe it's
Aw,
not late
man.
enough.
Okay.
I mean, they're scared right now.
They're
They'll
cleaning,
be cooking
oh,
later.
dude, they're scared. No, she's cleaning the floor.
They're scared.
Cleaning the floor.
They're all huddling in the corner. Something's going
Like
on
it,
right now.
She
Tom's,
lost her contact. She's just looking for it. It's fine.
well, she's getting Tom's Eye ready to open, right? Like it's not an all-night place.
Yeah.
It looks like morning's hitting. We're just not open yet, you know. Gotta wipe down those floors.
Is the
Mhm.
game real time or game time? But you have real day and night cycles, right? In this game.
Yeah.
Because I think you had to on a previous mission between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. You had to get there or something like that.
Yeah, I
Right.
believe like
Yeah.
there'll be some stuff like that that's timed and things like that.
I feel like Night City should always be night, but let's just go with that.
Yeah. It is definitely like its true self at night. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
So we have about 5 minutes or so before we're going to end. It's actually been really enjoyable here, and I'm going to do a plug and then give you both an opportunity to do a plug here. But last plug. So for the next 15 minutes, we're still doing the donation for $20.77. Get a game key of one of the random indie games that we've got. We've got a great selection, and the $20 itself gives you an opportunity to win our Vertigear PL 4500 chair. And all of the donations are again benefiting Feeding America, which again, at the time that we're living through, I can't think of a better cause. Helping $1 provides 10 meals to people in need across the United States. So I think it's just really impactful. So if you're able to, throw in those donations, have a chance to win a chair and get a game. So, and I'll acknowledge the last bit of donors we had before I jump back to you. So the last donor we did have since our last time is Wolf Man Bear Pig, having to add one more on top of South Park. The insight is lovely. Thank you all for doing this and helping others out. So you're all beautiful people. They wanted to make sure to say.
Aw.
So
Thank you, Wolfman Bear
Aw.
Pig.
Thank you. You're a beautiful person. Now that's one we went back and said multiple times. I saw the Nicola. We went back and
Oh,
said
yeah.
the pronunciation of that word
I
about 10 times. It kept changing.
Yeah, and I don't remember what's right now.
I don't either.
well, it's got to be Niccolo, right? I mean, that's like a name.
They said it during one of the ads at one point when you listen to
I
it.
Yes.
believe that.
I
so
think
my
that is
first
the
assumption
most
was-
redo I did was
Yeah.
Nicola.
Well, also because we said it
Nicola.
different ways throughout. That was. but,
That's true.
So I don't know if you recognize the section I'm about to come up on, but if you do, I'm curious about this. How you got the
Okay.
scripting to get this to work together. It's a neat concept that they didn't want to ruin beforehand, but if you recognize it, you recognize
I
it.
know where I'm gonna strike before I do it.
Wait.
oh,
The kabuki
these
fight?
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
holding off on this just
Wait.
in case, but we had enough time if you want to do it.
I haven't actually I haven't seen this. I've only heard the dialogue.
Oh well, it's interesting.
See, even all, like there's a bunch of characters that you just interact with very, very briefly. They have extensive backstories, which is just in this one little section right here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, are these the?
These are the.
This is the first
Yeah,
fight.
these are the guys.
Tag team,
Yeah.
but whatever. I guess. So, who do I got first?
You want to fight?
No, you don't get it. That body and this one, I'm the same person.
We tried to make our character here a fighter, so I hope
Okay.
that he performs well
I
in
used
this
to be
battle.
twins. We should get twins that are close.
I did it on
This
my
is
machine yesterday.
we had
Not a
to
problem.
get a lot of clarification on this one.
Rural oscillation sinks.
This one was.
Well,
It is,
one person.
just knowing who you were talking to was a lot of like going back and forth for that.
So I'm going to be a little
Ah.
boastful here and hope for the best.
Oh. Are you gonna?
Yeah, do it.
Probably
Let's
gonna
do
die.
it.
Yeah, I'm good. Go big or go home, right?
Fair.
Yeah.
No problem with that. So,
All right.
All right, let
when
me
we
get
get
ready.
started,
Yeah, that's what happens here.
You're gonna see a problem.
Do
with
not
that.
let us down.
Chat, give your energy. Give
Yeah.
your energy to Toothpick Vic.
Ooh.
Oh no.
But yeah, this is such a fun and weird concept.
It is.
It is.
Stupid. Like, it's in the best way.
Yeah.
And I don't know if everybody was able to catch it, but, oh, got a nice counter there.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's,
I gotta say
people,
you're
one brain. Oh,
I like these pink the pink arms. It just looks great as you were like.
The
Looks
little
great with the
puff,
blood
yeah,
spray.
very
The little
cool.
puff with the blood spray. It's great. Look at that. That's like the game is just so like, it's just fascinating because it's such a dark world. It's so weird. There's violence around every corner, and yet it's so like fun, vibrant.
Ooh,
Like,
took him out right to the jaw.
Yeah. The problem is that counter right there.
Oh.
come on, you got this.
No.
It's okay. Okay, we wanna- no.
Yep,
no.
yep.
Are better than two.
Oh, yeah, I think he got me that time.
Oh.
You ain't scared.
I pulled it off
Well,
on mine last night, but
It's because the chat
I haven't
didn't give
spent
enough
any
energy.
of the.
That was.
We haven't
So-
spent any of our
It
stat
was
points
so
yet. either.
fun.
We're gonna go ahead and start wrapping this up. I do appreciate Vic. You can probably win the fight off screen. Chat will assume you've won it after we finish up here.
Yeah, of course.
But I want to
Yeah.
make sure to give an opportunity for everybody to plug anything that they want to here. Starting with Jeremy, if you have anything that you would like to mention,
I mean,
like projects.
please donate in the stream to Feeding America. And if you want to hang out, I'm on Instagram at CLKStar and Twitter at ShareMeLeap. Please send me pictures of the Vs that you've created, male V, female V. I am loving seeing what everybody's screenshots look like in the world that you're creating. Thank you guys so much. This has been a really, really cool experience due to everybody's enthusiasm and support. So that's all I have to say.
Jeremy, Pierce, do you have anything you'd like to mention?
I will just echo Jeremy just in terms of supporting Feeding America. I just thank you for this opportunity to come on here and just hang out and talk about this to help support something like that. Especially, it gets said a lot, but it is true. Like right now is when it is coldest. It is when people are sort of in most need. So it's very cool what you've all put together here for MomoCon. If you want to see mostly me talk about D&D and post random pictures of things, you can check me out on Instagram or Twitter. Pierce O'Toole on both of those.
And Brandon, are you gonna get the autograph link up soon too?
Yeah, sure. Anyone who wants one, just feel free to just at me.
When are you getting the Jeremy, Keanu, Gavin family photo?
Jeremy, I will happily just hang out and do this on a stream-a-lee with you. And you can watch as I sign one,
Please.
and for 3 hours I just talk at you and distract you.
That would be great.
Perfect.
Vic, we'll give you opportunity. Do you want to promote? I'm assuming the Twitch channel. Anything
You know what? Honestly, if they look at the link here and see the twitch.tv/toothpickvic, come on in. I promise I talk a lot more there than I do over here, but I've been enjoying the conversation with everybody here, so it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah. It really has been an absolute pleasure. I really, it's been a wonderful, if you guys can believe it, it's basically been 2 hours. I feel like it's just blown by.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It flew by.
It flew by.
It did.
I want to
That's when
thank
you know
you.
you're having a good time.
Thank you to Vic for doing this because I would have been so anxious and I would have not been able to hang out. And you like took us around, gave us a great sampling of things that I haven't gotten to see yet. So this is fantastic.
So
Absolutely, my pleasure.
I want to thank you, Jeremy, Pierce, Vic, and also all of the donors. And there's still about 5 minutes left if you want to throw in a last-minute 2077 donation for a chance to win the chair drawing that we're doing here just in a moment. So 2077, get a free game code, have a chance to win the Vertigear PL 4500 chair. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you around.